I'm sitting on the couch in our tiny Chicago apartment, the radiator humming in the background, my hands wrapped around a mug of chamomile tea that's gone cold, my eyes fixed on the stack of bills on the coffee table. Electricity, rent, Nolan's latest med school fees, all stamped, past due, in red ink. A silent accusation of the life I've been struggling to hold together. My name's Claire, I'm 29, and I've been a nurse at a local hospital for the past 5 years, working 12-hour shifts, my feet aching, my back sore, just to keep us afloat while my husband, Nolan, chases his dream of becoming a doctor. The apartment smells like the lavender air freshener I sprayed earlier, a small attempt to mask the dampness of the old building. Its peeling wallpaper and creaky floors, a constant reminder of the sacrifices I've made for the man I thought I'd build a future with. Nolan and I met 7 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue in Lincoln Park. The summer air warm, the smell of grilled burgers and charcoal in the air, the sound of a portable speaker playing classic rock tunes. I was 22, fresh out of nursing school, still in my scrubs from a morning shift, when I saw him across the yard, his green eyes catching the sunlight, his "you look like you could use a burger" making me laugh, breaking the ice between us. He was 24, a first-year med student at the University of Chicago, his ambition lighting up his face as he talked about becoming a surgeon, his dreams so big I couldn't help but be drawn in, couldn't help but want to be part of them. We spent the evening talking, sharing a plate of food, our connection instant, our laughter easy. By the end of the night, he'd written his number on a napkin, his "call me, Claire," a promise I couldn't resist. On our first date, we went to a little Italian place downtown, sharing a pizza, his hand brushing mine as we reached for the same slice, his stories about med school making me feel like I was part of something bigger, something worth fighting for. A few months later, he took me to a free concert in Millennium Park, the city skyline glowing behind us, his arm around my shoulders as we swayed to the music, the moment feeling like the start of something permanent. On our third date, we got caught in a sudden rainstorm while walking along the lakefront, ducking under a tree for shelter, his jacket over my shoulders, our laughter mixing with the sound of the rain, a memory that still makes my chest ache when I think about it. We ended up at a nearby diner, soaked to the bone, sharing a plate of fries, his "you look beautiful," even drenched, a compliment that made me blush, a moment that felt like the beginning of forever. We got married 3 years later in a park near Lake Michigan, a small ceremony with just our families, my white sundress fluttering in the breeze, his borrowed tie a little crooked, our vows a promise to support each other through everything. We moved into this apartment right after, its walls soon covered with photos, us at Navy Pier, our faces lit up by the Ferris wheel, hiking in Starved Rock, muddy boots and big smiles, celebrating his first med school exam with a bottle of cheap wine, our laughter echoing in the tiny space. I'd come home from shifts, my feet aching, and find him studying at the kitchen table, flashcards spread out, his brow furrowed in concentration. I'd make us coffee, sit with him, quiz him on anatomy terms, my "you've got this, Nolan," a quiet encouragement, a way to feel like we were a team. On weekends, we'd walk to the corner diner, splitting a plate of pancakes, dreaming about the day he'd graduate, the day we'd buy a little house with a backyard, the day I thought would make all the sacrifices worth it. I'd sketch out ideas for that house on napkins, big windows, a garden for vegetables, a swing set for the kids we'd have someday, while he'd nod, his "we'll get there," Claire, a promise I held onto. I even started a Pinterest board for that dream house, pinning ideas for paint colors and furniture, showing him my favorites on my phone, his "I love your vision, Claire," a moment of connection that felt so real, so ours. I've given up so much for him. I've worked double shifts at the hospital, my back sore from lifting patients, my eyes heavy from lack of sleep, just to pay for his tuition, his textbooks, his exam fees. I've skipped vacations, canceled plans with friends, put off my own dreams, like starting a family, something I've wanted for years. I'd bring it up sometimes, my "maybe we can try for a baby soon." A hopeful question, but he'd always brush it off. His "not yet, Claire. I need to focus on residency first." A response that made me feel like my dreams didn't matter. A response that left me swallowing my disappointment, telling myself it was temporary. Last month, I picked up extra shifts to cover his latest exam fee, canceling a girls' night with Sarah, my "I'll make it up to you" a promise I couldn't keep. I even sold my grandmother's necklace, a small gold pendant she gave me before she passed, to cover a late payment on his tuition. The pawn shop's fluorescent lights harsh as I handed it over, my heart aching with the loss of something so precious, something I thought I'd pass down to our future child. I'd planned to use the money from a small savings account I'd been building for a down payment on that dream house, but instead, I drained it to cover his fees, watching my own dreams slip further away with every withdrawal. I stopped going to my book club, a small joy I'd clung to because I was too exhausted from the extra shifts, my "I'll be back next month" a promise I couldn't keep, a promise that made me feel like I was losing pieces of myself, one by one. Nolan's in his final year of med school now, his rotations at the hospital keeping him out late, his stress a constant cloud over us. He's been distant lately. His "I'm studying with my group" a vague excuse I've heard too often, his phone always on silent, his smiles forced, his touch cold. Last week, he came home at 2 a.m., his jacket smelling faintly of perfume I didn't recognize, his "I was at the library" a story I wanted to believe, his eyes avoiding mine as he headed straight to bed. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the sink full of dishes I'd meant to wash, my doubts pressing down on me, my sacrifices a burden I couldn't ignore. I noticed his phone on the counter, the screen lighting up with a notification, a name I didn't recognize, Dr. Ellis, followed by a message I couldn't read, a message that made my stomach twist, a message that planted a seed of doubt I couldn't uproot. I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was overthinking, but the scent of that perfume lingered in my mind. I even asked him about it the next morning, my "Who's Dr. Ellis?" Casual but pointed, his "just a professor helping with my residency," too quick, too rehearsed, his eyes darting away as he changed the subject, leaving me with more questions than answers. I found myself staring at his jacket later that day, the faint scent of that perfume still there, my mind racing with possibilities I didn't want to face, possibilities that made my chest tighten with every breath. Tonight, he's out again, his text. "I'll be late, don't wait up." Lighting up my phone as I sit on the couch, the TV on low, a rerun of some sitcom I'm not really watching, the laugh track a hollow sound in the quiet apartment. I look at the photos on the walls, the smiling faces a reminder of the life we used to have, the life I've fought so hard for. I think about the extra shifts I picked up, the way I've canceled plans with Sarah, the way I've sold pieces of my past to fund his future, and I wonder if he even notices, wonder if he still loves me, wonder if I've been a fool to give so much to a man who might not be mine anymore. I set my mug down, the tea untouched, and head to the bedroom, the sound of the city outside a distant hum, my heart heavy with a growing doubt. A doubt that's been building with every late night, every vague excuse, every moment of distance between us. It's the next morning, and I'm in the kitchen, the sunlight streaming through the window, the smell of coffee brewing, my hands unsteady as I scroll through my phone, my shift at the hospital starting in an hour. Nolan's still asleep, his shoes by the door, his jacket slung over a chair, a faint whiff of that unfamiliar perfume lingering on it, a scent that's been haunting me since I first noticed it. I've been up since 5 a.m., my mind racing with the doubts that kept me tossing and turning, the doubts that led me to his phone last night. I saw a notification, a text from Dr. Ellis that read, "Can't wait to see you tonight." A message that made my stomach drop, a message I couldn't unsee, a message that's been burning in my mind ever since, a message that's made me question everything I thought I knew about us. Dr. Margaret Ellis is a 40-year-old professor at Nolan's Med School, a renowned surgeon he's mentioned before, "She's helping me with my residency application." A comment I thought was professional, a comment I trusted, a comment I now see differently. I open my laptop, my fingers unsteady as I search her name, pulling up her profile on the university website. Her photo shows a striking woman with sharp cheekbones, blonde hair pulled back, a confident smile that makes me feel small, inadequate, invisible, her poised demeanor a stark contrast to my own exhaustion. I dig deeper, my nursing instincts kicking in, my need for answers stronger than my fear. I find an email Nolan left open on his laptop, a draft he never sent, addressed to Dr. Ellis, his words a punch to the gut. I can't stop thinking about you, Margaret. Last night was incredible. You promised me that residency spot. I need this. My breath catches, my vision blurs with tears, my heart pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. He's been sleeping with her, using her to secure his residency, trading our marriage for his career, trading everything I've given him for a future that doesn't include me. I think about the double shifts I've worked, the dreams I've put on hold, the necklace I sold, all for him, all for a man who's been lying to me, who's been betraying me, who's been breaking every promise we made. I hear Nolan walking into the kitchen. His morning, baby casual, oblivious, infuriating, his voice a reminder of the man I thought I knew, the man I thought loved me. I stand up, my voice trembling as I hold up the laptop, the email still on the screen. What is this, Nolan? I ask, my words sharp, my eyes locked on his, my heart breaking with every second he doesn't answer. His face pales, his eyes darting to the screen, his Claire, I can explain a weak attempt at a lie I won't accept. Explain what? That you've been sleeping with your professor to get a residency. That you've been using me, lying to me, while I've been killing myself to support you. My voice cracks, tears streaming down my face, my hands clenched into fists, the coffee pot gurgling in the background, the sunlight streaming through the window, a cruel contrast to the darkness inside me. He stammers, his "it was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen," a confession that makes me sob, a confession that shatters the last piece of hope I had. A mistake, I shout, my voice echoing in the small kitchen, the smell of coffee now bitter in the air. I've worked double shifts for you, Nolan. I've given up everything, my savings, my dreams, my life for you. I sold my grandmother's necklace to pay for your tuition, and this is how you repay me. He steps closer, his hands reaching for me. I was desperate, Claire. I needed that residency, a justification that makes my blood boil, a justification that makes me pull away, a justification that makes me see the depth of his selfishness. How long, Nolan? I ask, my voice quieter now, my tears falling faster, my heart in pieces, my hands gripping the edge of the counter to keep from collapsing. How long have you been doing this? He looks down, his "a few months," a whisper that cuts deeper than any knife, a whisper that makes me question every moment we've shared. I grab my phone and text Sarah, my "I need you," a plea I can't hold back, a plea I need answered. Sarah replies instantly, her "I'm on my way," a response I'm grateful for. I tell Nolan to leave, my "I want a divorce, Nolan, get out," a decision I can't take back, a decision that breaks me but sets me free. He begs me to reconsider, his "I'll end it with her, Claire, I'll fix this," a promise I can't believe, a promise that means nothing after what he's done. He grabs his jacket, his "I'm sorry, Claire," a hollow apology as he walks out the door, the sound of it closing a final note in the symphony of our marriage. I collapse onto the kitchen floor, my sobs echoing in the empty apartment, my hands clutching the edge of the table, my world shattered, my life a mess, my future uncertain. I hear Sarah's car pull up outside, her knock on the door a sound I need to hear. She rushes in, her arms around me, her "I'm here, Claire, you're going to be okay," a comfort I need, a comfort that makes me feel like I can survive this, even if just for today. I cling to her, my tears soaking her sweater, my voice breaking as I tell her everything, the email, the betrayal, the way I've been used. She listens, her hand rubbing my back, her "he doesn't deserve you, Claire, you're so much stronger than this," a lifeline I hold onto. She helps me up, pouring me a glass of water, her "you don't have to go through this alone," a reminder that I have her, that I have someone in my corner. We sit at the kitchen table, the coffee now cold, the sunlight still streaming through the window, and I feel a flicker of the woman I used to be, the woman I can be again, the woman I will be again. Sarah suggests I take a few days off work. Her "you need to rest, Claire. Let me call your supervisor," a kindness I can't refuse, a kindness that makes me feel cared for. She picks up my phone, dialing the hospital, her "Hi, this is Sarah, Claire's friend. She's not feeling well and needs a few days," a small act that gives me space to breathe, space to process, space to start healing. We spend the afternoon talking. Her stories about her own past heartbreaks a reminder that I'm not alone. Her laughter at a silly memory, a brief reprieve from my pain. Her presence an anchor in the storm of my emotions. She pulls out her laptop, let's look up some self-care ideas, you deserve to treat yourself. A suggestion that makes me smile. A suggestion that leads us to a website with tips on journaling and meditation. A suggestion that gives me a small spark of inspiration. A small step toward healing, a small step toward myself. We bookmark a few articles. We can try some of these together. A promise of support. A promise that makes me feel less alone. A promise that gives me a glimmer of hope for the days ahead. It's been a week since I kicked Nolan out, and I'm in the hospital break room, the smell of antiseptic and burnt coffee in the air, my hands wrapped around a cup of tea, my eyes red from crying, my scrubs wrinkled from a sleepless night, my badge hanging crookedly on my chest, the fluorescent lights harsh against my tired eyes. The apartment feels like a graveyard of memories, the photos on the walls a painful reminder of the life I've lost. I've been sleeping on the couch, unable to face our bedroom, the scent of his cologne still on the pillows, the empty space where his clothes used to be a constant ache. I've called in sick twice this week, my supervisor. Take care of yourself, Claire, a kindness I don't feel I deserve, a kindness that makes me feel seen, even if just for a moment. I've told Sarah everything, meeting her at a diner near the hospital, the clatter of plates and the hum of conversation a backdrop to my confession, the smell of greasy fries and ketchup in the air, the jukebox playing an old country song. I showed her the email, my voice breaking as I recounted Nolan's betrayal, her eyes wide with shock, her hand reaching for mine across the table. You deserve so much better, Claire, a comfort I'm trying to hold on to. She suggests I report Dr. Ellis to the university. She abused her position. You can't let her get away with this, igniting a spark of anger and determination in me, a spark that makes me feel like I can fight back, like I can take back some control. I go to the university the next day, my heart pounding as I walk into the administration office, the smell of old books and polished wood in the air, my scrubs still on from my shift, my badge clipped to my pocket, a reminder of the life I've been fighting for. I'm led to the dean's office, a small room with a view of the campus quad, students walking outside, their laughter a stark contrast to the storm inside me, their backpacks and scarves a reminder of a life that feels so far away. I sit across from him, my voice steady as I explain. Dr. Margaret Ellis had an inappropriate relationship with my husband, Nolan Harper, to secure his residency spot. I hand over a printed copy of the email, my eyes burning with unshed tears, my voice breaking as I finish. I've given up everything for him, and this is what he did. The dean's face is serious. We take these allegations very seriously, Mrs. Harper. We'll investigate immediately. A promise that makes me feel like I'm doing something to right this wrong. He asks for more details. Can you tell me when this started? A question I can't fully answer. I only found out recently, but the email mentions a few months. A response that makes his brow furrow. We'll need to speak with both parties, a statement that makes my stomach twist, but also gives me a sense of action, a sense of justice moving forward. I leave the office, the cold Chicago air hitting me as I step outside, my breath visible in the winter chill, my scarf wrapped tightly around my neck, my boots crunching on the icy sidewalk, my mind racing with what I've just done, my body exhausted from the emotional toll. I head to the hospital for my shift, my colleagues. You okay, Claire? A question I can't answer honestly, a question that makes me feel exposed. I throw myself into work, checking patients' charts, administering meds, my focus a distraction from the pain, a distraction from the uncertainty. My coworker, Jen, pulls me aside during a break. You've been off lately. What's going on? A question I need to face. I tell her a simplified version. My Nolan and I are done. He cheated. A confession that makes her eyes widen. I'm so sorry, Claire. That's awful. A kindness I'm grateful for. A kindness that makes me feel like I can keep going, even if it's just for this shift. She offers to cover my last few patients. Go home, Claire, you need a break, a gesture I can't refuse, a gesture that makes me feel cared for, a gesture that gives me a moment to breathe. I thank her, my I owe you one, Jen, a promise I mean, a promise that makes me feel a flicker of connection, a flicker of normalcy in the chaos of my life. I call Nolan that evening, my heart pounding as I hear his voice, his Claire, what do you want? A question that makes my blood boil. I reported Dr. Ellis to the university. Nolan, they're investigating, and your residency is on the line. I say, my voice steady, my anger a fire I can't contain, my words a weapon I need to wield. He panics. You're ruining my career. Claire, please stop this, a plea that makes me laugh, a bitter, hollow laugh, a laugh that feels like justice. You ruined our marriage, Nolan. You don't get to play the victim. I snap, my tears falling, my resolve unshaken. I hang up, my breath ragged, my mind racing with the consequences of my actions, the consequences of his betrayal. I go back to the apartment, the silence heavy, the emptiness a reminder of what I've lost, the sound of the radiator a lonely hum in the background. I start packing a bag, deciding I can't stay here anymore, deciding I need a fresh start, deciding I need to find a new place to heal. I pull down the photos from the walls, each one a stab to the heart, our wedding day, our first anniversary, a trip to the zoo where we laughed at the penguins, stuffing them into a box I'll deal with later, my hands shaking as I fold my clothes, my mind set on leaving this place behind. I call Sarah, can I stay with you for a while? A question I need to ask, a question that feels like a step toward something new. She agrees, of course, Claire, come over tonight, a lifeline I grab onto, a lifeline that makes me feel like I can keep going, even if it's just one step at a time. I take one last look at the apartment, the life I built with Nolan, the life I thought would last forever, and I walk out the door, my bag over my shoulder, my heart heavy but determined, my future uncertain but mine to shape. I stop by a small grocery store on the way to Sarah's, picking up a bottle of wine and some snacks. We'll need this tonight, a thought that makes me smile, a thought that makes me feel like I can find moments of lightness, even in the darkness, even in the pain, even in the uncertainty. At the store, I also grab a small notebook, a simple one with a blue cover, thinking it might be good for journaling, a way to start processing everything, a way to start reclaiming my thoughts, my story, my voice. I run my fingers over the notebook's cover, imagining the words I'll write, the emotions I'll pour out, the healing I might find in those pages. A small act of self-care that feels like a step forward, a step toward reclaiming myself. It's a month later, and I'm standing outside the university, the cold Chicago wind biting at my skin, my hands stuffed in my coat pockets, my eyes fixed on the building where Nolan's future was decided, my heart heavy with a mix of anger and relief, my scarf fluttering in the breeze, my boots dusted with fresh snow, the gray sky above a mirror of the storm inside me. The investigation concluded last week, the dean calling me to confirm his Dr. Ellis has been suspended and Nolan's residency application has been revoked. A victory that feels hollow, a victory that doesn't erase the pain, a victory that leaves me questioning what I've gained, what I've lost, what I've become. I've moved out of the apartment, the memories too painful to stay, the silence too loud, the ghosts of our past too heavy. I'm staying with Sarah now, her guest room a small sanctuary, her spare bed covered with a quilt her mom made, her "you're stronger than you think," Claire, a mantra I'm starting to feel, a mantra that's helping me get through each day, a mantra that's helping me find myself again. I've started the divorce proceedings, the papers signed and filed, my signature a final goodbye, a final release from the man I thought I'd love forever. I've been going to therapy, my therapist. You're allowed to feel this pain, Claire, a permission I'm learning to accept, a permission that's helping me heal, a permission that's helping me become myself again. I've even started taking small steps for myself, signing up for a yoga class Sarah recommended, the stretching and breathing a way to quiet my mind, a way to feel my body again, a way to feel like I'm moving forward, even if it's slow, even if it's just a little each day. I've also started journaling, a habit my therapist suggested, my pen scratching across the page late at night, my thoughts spilling out, anger, sadness, hope, a way to process, a way to understand, a way to let go. I see Nolan across the street, his face pale, his eyes hollow, his posture defeated, his coat too thin for the winter chill, his life a mess I helped create, a mess he brought on himself. He walks over, his Claire, can we talk? A question I need to answer, a question I owe myself. I nod, my what do you want, Nolan? A question that makes my chest ache, a question that makes me feel the strength I've found. He tells me he's lost everything. His, I didn't get the residency. I have to start over. A confession that stirs a twisted sense of satisfaction. A confession that makes me feel a flicker of justice. A confession that makes me feel like I've taken back some control. He begs for forgiveness. His, I made a mistake, Claire. I still love you, a plea I can't believe, a plea that makes my blood boil, a plea that makes me see him for who he is. A man who used me, a man who betrayed me, a man who doesn't deserve my forgiveness, a man who doesn't deserve my love. You didn't just make a mistake, Nolan. You chose her over me, over us, over everything I gave you. I say, my voice steady, my tears falling, my anger a fire I can't contain, my words a truth I need to speak. I think about the double shifts I worked, the dreams I put on hold, the necklace I sold, the life I sacrificed, and I realize I deserve better, realize I deserve a life that's mine, a life that's defined by my strength, by my resilience, by my worth. I walk away, my heart pounding, my mind racing with the life I'm building, the life I'll fight for, the life I'll live. I stop at a coffee shop on the way to Sarah's, the warmth of the place a contrast to the cold outside, the smell of espresso a small comfort, the baristas, what can I get you? A question that feels like a new beginning, a question that feels like hope. I order a latte, my hands steady for the first time in weeks, my heart lighter than before, my future mine to shape. I sit by the window, watching the snow start to fall, the city moving on around me, the world reminding me that I can continue too, that I can heal, that I can be enough for myself, for my future, for the life I deserve. I pull out my phone, scrolling through listings for a new apartment, a small studio I can afford on my own, a place that can be mine, a place where I can start over, a place where I can build a new life, a life that's just for me. I find one that catches my eye, a cozy space with a big window overlooking a quiet street, the rent just within my budget, the photos showing a fresh start I can already imagine, a start I'm ready to make my own. I save the listing, my this could be it, a whisper to myself, a whisper of a new chapter I'm ready to write, a chapter that belongs to me. I think about the university, the place where Nolan's dreams died, the place where my dreams were shattered, the place where I took back my power, the place where I started to heal. I think about the woman I was, the woman who loved him, the woman who gave everything, and I think about the woman I'm becoming, the woman who survived him, the woman who will thrive without him, the woman who will be whole again, one step at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time, my life, my future, my story, my strength, my healing, my hope.